It is possible that the local Board of Education may elect not to conduct an evaluation of a teacher or principal who meets one of the following requirements. The teacher or principal was on leave from the school district for 50% or more of the school year, as calculated by the board, or the teacher or principal has submitted a notice of retirement and that notice has been accepted by the board not later than the first day of December of the school year in which the evaluation is otherwise scheduled to be conducted. This is not applicable to school counselors. As a refresher, think about who is evaluated under the Ohio Teacher Evaluation System, or OTEZ. Any person who is employed under a teaching license or under a professional or permanent teacher's certificate and who spends at least 50% of his or her time employed providing student instruction. This does not apply to a teacher employed as a substitute, and this usually excludes professionals such as speech pathologists, occupational and physical therapists, teachers on assignment, nurses, school psychologists, and school counselors. School counselors would be evaluated under the Ohio School Counselor Evaluation System. When thinking about the evaluation of principals under the Ohio Principal Evaluation System, or OPEZ, you should focus not on the administrative title, but rather on the role and alignment, if any, to the Principal Performance Rating rubric and the Ohio Standards for Principals. There are 3 questions you should ask. Is the administrator serving as an instructional leader? Do the duties of the administrator fall into at least 2 of the 5 principal standards? Does the administrator evaluate multiple staff members? Only those administrators meeting all 3 criteria would be evaluated under the principal evaluation system, including the use of student growth measures. Administrators who would not be required to be evaluated under the principal evaluation system include those who do not fit all of those 3 considerations. These administrators may have limited contact with teachers and/or students, have narrowly defined roles and administrative responsibilities that do not directly relate to the principal standards. They do not provide instructional leadership, nor do they evaluate multiple teachers. All school counselors who are not under a collective bargaining agreement that was entered into prior to September 29, 2015 and is still in place will be fully evaluated this school year. If a school counselor serves in a dual role, such as the role of school counselor and some other educating professional, then you must complete the evaluation for the school counselor and the evaluation for other roles of OTEZ or OPEZ. In order to be an evaluator of teachers, the evaluator must complete a 3-day state training and then participate in successful recalibration every 2 years thereafter. The evaluator must also complete successful passage of an online credentialing test and be approved by the local Board of Education as an evaluator of teachers. In order to be an evaluator of principals, the evaluator must complete a 2-day state training and then successful recalibration every 2 years thereafter, be successful in their passage of an online credentialing test, and be approved by the local Board of Education as an evaluator of principals. In order to be an evaluator of school counselors, the evaluator must attain a certificate of attendance for completion of a 1-day state training, and that certificate must be uploaded into OTEZ as evidence. The evaluator must be approved by the local Board of Education as an evaluator of school counselors, and the superintendent or designee must verify that in OTEZ. Evaluator credentials are visible in OTEZ. The Certificate of Attendance for completion of State Ohio School Counselor Evaluation System training must be uploaded into OTEZ as evidence. Credentialing for OTEZ and OPEZ will automatically be loaded into OTEZ upon the successful online credentialing of the evaluator. All of these credentials are visible on the OTEZ home screen for the evaluator, where all credentials are listed for OTEZ, OPEZ, and OSES. So how do you determine if a teacher is placed on or remains on a professional growth plan? Teachers rated accomplished from the previous year, which would be the 15-16 school year, will be placed on a self-directed professional growth plan for the 16-17 school year. Teachers who are rated skilled from the previous year will be placed on a collaborative professional growth plan for the 16-17 school year. Teachers rated developing from the previous year will be placed on a directed professional plan with administrative approval. Remember, it is a local decision to place an educator on an improvement plan as needed based upon deficiencies in any individual component of the evaluation system. While this does not yet apply to school counselors for the 16-17 school year, it will apply to school counselors beginning in the 2017-2018 school year based upon the ratings earned by the school counselor this school year. School counselors will begin the 2016-2017 school year on a collaborative professional growth plan unless the district has determined that the school counselor will be placed on an improvement plan. For teachers rated ineffective in the 15-16 school year, that teacher must be on an improvement plan for the 16-17 school year and must go through a full evaluation in the 16-17 school year. The improvement plan will be directed by the evaluator, and remember, again, it is always a local decision to place an educator on an improvement plan as needed based upon deficiencies in any individual component of the evaluation system. Later this school year, the superintendent or designee will enter default percentages for student growth measures for teachers and principals in OTEZ. There will be no entry of student growth measure default percentages for school counselors because this does not apply to school counselors. Metrics of student outcomes are included in the school counselor evaluation rubric and are used in place of student growth measures. For the district that has determined that value added will not be used and the district has no MOU in place, this is an example of the screen that will appear for teacher student growth measure percentages as the superintendent or designee enters the default percentages determined by the district into the available cells. If a district determines that it will use value added and it does have an MOU in place, the entry of default percentages will be made for category A1 and A2 teachers in addition to those that you see on this screen, and those cells will be available. Percentages for student growth measures for teachers and principal evaluation will follow the same business rules that we have always used.